Mic muted. Hey everybody, it's Taylor. Welcome to the stream on this Friday night. We'll remove that. We'll put me on the screen. What's up? Hope everyone's week is going well. Hopefully you all can hear me as well, because working on that as well. But yeah, hopefully everyone is doing okay on a Friday. We had some qualifying today. Really cool to see that number 3 back on the pole with Larry Mack and Jeffrey Earnhardt. So really cool. We'll talk about that later in the podcast or in the episode live stream. We'll be joined by Dom Joseph, Adam Lucas. So you know Adam Lucas from last stream. We'll meet Dom today, and I think maybe Brandon Lowe I think might be joining us as well. So we can get started. If there's anything you guys want to talk about preemptively, put that in the comments. We'll discuss. But this was kind of supposed to be like an open chat. Anything you guys wanted to talk about, obviously within reason, whether it be NASCAR or anything in general, let me know, and I'll be happy to talk about that. Yeah, a lot of topics to discuss. We're also going to do, I think next week I'm going to have one of my buddies, Rob Branding, on the show, and we're going to do some Darlington tier listing with your guys' help. Rob is a really good graphic designer. He actually designed the Above the Line logo. So really excited to have him on next week. Hey, Casey, what's up? So that'll be exciting. Yeah, any topics you guys want to discuss? Anything that you guys have kind of thought about? This will be kind of, like I said, a little bit of a roundtable with Adam and Dom and maybe Brandon tonight, talking about we might bring up the issues with the content strike and all of that. We might just kind of brief our opinions on it. Hey, Kobe, what's up? Thoughts on Jeffrey Earnhardt getting the Xfinity pole at Talladega? Oh my gosh, dude. That honestly so cool just to see that number 3, especially an RCR number 3 with Larry Mack on the box. Back on the pole, pretty cool. I mean, the lap was insane, quite honestly. And then also, I mentioned this too on Twitter, but Ryan Vargas, how well he did. But that's like really awesome. I hope he's able to maintain that pace during the race. Obviously, with Talladega, things are crazy. The Earnhardts are synonymous with those late lap passes for the win. So, and we'll talk about that a little bit tonight too. But hopefully he's able to keep that, and if not, make one of those famous Earnhardt late lap passes for the win for sure. But yeah, no, super cool. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that other than it's awesome. And it was obviously like during my time, I was born in 2000, so I wasn't around to see like Earnhardt race when I was alive, senior. So kind of feeling nostalgia in a weird way. Well, not ceremonial Dr. Pepper sip. Here's the thing. I don't have Dr. Pepper. I still haven't bought any. So I have the body armor though, not a sponsor. But I still have the body armor. So unfortunately can't do that tonight. But I need to get Dr. Pepper soon, Casey. I really do. It's just the thing. So yeah. But yeah, the topics for tonight, we're going to talk about how the Earnhardts will never be topped at Talladega. One of the best. We'll kind of talk about our thoughts there. Why the 2000s were so awesome was a topic that one of y'all wanted us to bring up on Twitter. So we'll talk about that as well. Also, something about Chase Elliott. We'll bring up a little bit of Chase Elliott and his popularity, a little bit like that. SRX words, sorry. Wanted to bring up that just as the series is coming up in the next few weeks. And just, kind of what that means. We're seeing sponsors really jump on board with that series and just some really cool stuff there. So wanted to break that down. Another question that I got from one of you on Twitter was Kyle Busch. Now that M&M's is going to be leaving us after the season, who's going to take his place? So also talking about that, I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on that. We'll totally get to that later. There might have been one other topic that one of Dom or Adam wanted to discuss, but we'll have Adam join the chat. Like, we'll give it a few minutes. So we'll have Adam join in and we'll kind of just start discussing. So yeah, let's see. Ceremonial body. Okay, I'll do it. I'll do a body armor sip just because. Why not? That's good. So here's the thing that I don't like about the body armors. They, like the caps, like it drips. I don't know how else to describe it, but every time I open a body armor bottle, it all just spills out. I don't know what else. Ben, you said always great seeing Jeffrey in good equipment. Yes, that's the thing. I'd have liked to have seen him with JGR and Toyota for a bit longer. No, I agree with you, and I think he could have made something out of that equipment, maybe. But no, having that chance in RCR is huge for him, and I hope that can propel him, and I hope they can kind of see what he can do. I guess what he can do in that equipment, and hopefully that'll get him more consistent rides in the future. So that'll be great. What do you think about crews having to put umbrellas? Oh my gosh, they're cool enough over cars to let them through tech. So here's the thing. So next week I'm actually going to be interviewing a hold on, I got to pull up messages real quick. So here's the thing I think about that. I think that's kind of ridiculous, and I don't really know the mechanics behind, like, why that happens. Obviously, the metal I'm pretty sure, like, constrict under the heat, and kind of just warp kind of weird. And so I can understand how that can make some of the measurements off in the cars. But I'm actually going to be interviewing Brian Murphy next week, the fabricator at SHR. And I'll be talking to him. I want to bring this up to him, especially just to kind of get more insight as to why that happens and what the teams are doing about that. But no, I think too, just going through inspection as well and knowing that this is something out of your control that you get nothing to do with if the car is not up to standards because of the heat and how that messed with I guess the metal on the car, just the car in general. I think that's pretty whack. So yeah, I didn't see the results of how tech went. I think I saw something about Truex failing. But I want to look that up just to make sure. I don't know what you all think. What do you guys think about that? Do you think it was like, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of crazy. And I almost thought about it being like a Mary Poppins type moment with the umbrellas type. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. I was like, y'all are gonna be in, like, I literally thought it was just they were gonna pull out Mary Poppins the musical right then and there. So that's what I thought when I saw that. And also just as the year is getting hotter and hotter earlier on, this is gonna have to be more of an issue that they figure out. For sure. Also, if you have questions for Brian Murphy, put them in the comments too, and I'll make sure I ask him, whether it's about the cars, fabrication, SHR as a whole. Obviously, I was going to ask him about the Chase Briscoe wins and how morale has been over at SHR, and yeah, even just random silly questions. Just let me know for sure, and I'll make sure I asked him. I wonder if it was a known issue before today. Alex, you asked. Yeah. No, I'm curious too, and I think the more we go on with these next gen cars, we're gonna figure out the issues real fast. And I know we know earlier on, and I think Denny Hamlin was a huge proponent of talking about this, but the heat issues within the car, we never really got to hear about the heat issues and how it affected the outside of the car. So I am curious if it was an issue beforehand. That's actually a really good question. I might have to ask him that too. And I was gonna ask him, more issues that they're kind of working out still. I'm also not sure about the part shortage. I'm assuming that's probably gotten better as we've gone on, but how it's affecting their team and personally as well. So that would be something else to ask as well. Any other topics you guys like want to bring up that are like you guys are dying to know about? I'm excited to have Adam and Dom on the show. We're gonna get into some good discussion, and like I mentioned, having Rob Branding on the show next week and doing some Talladega tier listing of the throwback paint schemes. Hopefully, if my Wi-Fi works, I'll be at home. I won't be at my normal location, so the Wi-Fi might be iffy. Living the country life away from here. So, yeah. I don't know if there's a race you guys are most excited for this weekend. I really just want to see how Jeffrey Earnhardt does. Not gonna lie. We'll probably talk about our favorites this weekend. We all have kind of already picked our race winning picks for the Above the Yellow Line crew. We usually do it. I've mentioned this on the show before, I think, and maybe on this on our live streams. But every week we do random number generator 1 to 4, and we kind of go alphabetically through that. And I was drawn last this week to pick my race winner. So that means I kind of have a leeway as to holding off until I see qualifying. But everyone else already picked their race winning picks. So we'll talk about that. I might talk about my fantasy lineup. I know one of you actually commented and wanted to know if I could do kind of like a pre-race video on Twitter, just kind of explaining my fantasy lineups, big storylines ahead of time, just like a 60-second. And that's something I want to work on doing over the summer. And I know some of you all are in the fantasy lineup league that I have. It's Above the Yellow Line, all one word, on the NASCAR app, I guess. So far those standings, I will say I had a really good week last week. I actually had, I think, everybody in the top 10 in my fantasy lineup. So I got lucky. And then, of course, going into turn 4, Briscoe took himself out pretty much in Reddick, and that just broke my heart. And my lineup kind of looked bad from there. But now in the league standings, I'm in second place right now. That rarely happens. Sawyer wasn't he won. If you guys don't know Sawyer, he's my significant other. He's been on the streams before, usually doing gaming. He was in first place like for the longest time, and we were all kind of trying to figure out how to dethrone him from that. So that was fun. But no, it's exciting to at least be in the top 3 for these for these lineups. I wonder if you guys do the fantasy lineups and how you guys have done with that. Matt Deanson, who I'm hoping to have on one of our live streams and on the show before, he's a friend of ours. He's also in ours, and he's in 3rd place right now, so he's been doing well. Let's see who else is in this. I don't know if anyone else in the chat is in the fantasy lineup, but yeah, I don't know. I'm curious also to hear your guys' picks for this weekend. I'm not going to steal them, I promise. I might just keep them in the back of my brain there for a second. Let's see what else. Yeah, like I said, if you guys have anything you want to talk about, anything you want to know, whether it's channel, any hot topics in NASCAR right now, definitely let me know. We'll probably have Adam join the chat. I'm gonna let Adam in the chat here. Here we go. Adam, what's up, my guy?
Good evening, everybody. How we doing?
Doing good. Yeah, we Adam mentioned this to me, but IDK player is having a race right now, and Matt's actually in it. I just mentioned Matt, but he's in that race right now.
Yes.
So how's he doing?
He was in the top 10 the last I checked. I've kind of been watching sporadically because I got football on over my shoulder, as you see now, so I've been kind of flipping back and forth. But it's like a 500-mile race, so they're going the full distance at Daytona tonight.
Good for them. I want to be able to do that. Not at all. Not even close. I'd tap out probably. Here's the thing. I love to drive, but I just, for reasons I can't really right now. So I would probably last maybe 5 minutes out of those 500 miles and just knock out. I want to be able to do it. I
probably could go about an ARCA distance race right now.
Oh, yeah.
I could probably do a good solid 200 miles at Daytona.
And that's it.
I think for right now, where I'm at, my frame of mind, mental state, and just overall fitness, I think I could easily do an ARCA. Maybe push the limit with maybe a Bush or a Wow Bush.
Oh, yeah. You threw it way back. Threw it way back.
Maybe an Xfinity distance of 300 or the old 312 distance. Yeah, I don't think I can do a 500 right now.
That's more than I could do, though. So I commend you for that, because I just want it. So I wanted to ask you, I guess, getting into one of the topics. So somebody wanted to talk about why the 2000s were so awesome for NASCAR. And you know me, I was born in 2000s. I wasn't around for that whole 2000s era. All I know was it was cool. The personalities were bigger, and there was a lot more advertisements and media spots. And that's all I really know about that early 2000s era. Can you enlighten me on what the 2000s was like as a NASCAR fan, and why was it so awesome?
Man, that is really a hard question to answer, because there's just so much of it. I want to take it more in a personal reason on why it was the best for me. And it always goes back to the cars, the paint schemes. That's something.
They were so good.
It's something that it's been ingrained in my head, ingrained in my brain. I'll always remember the 2000s, especially the early 2000s. Those were some of the best paint schemes. And I'm super excited to see some of the paint schemes for Darlington this year. A lot of them are reflecting those early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. I kind of pushed them all together, but that was the golden age for me. And I love it. That's just something that rings home to me.
Now, I don't know, and then correct me if I'm wrong, because I should have looked this up, but there has not been a Jeff Gordon throwback, I don't think, until this year, or at least more prominently. We've seen 2 so far.
William Byron did run the Rainbow Warrior scheme back.
That is true.
In when was that? 17? No, 18.
I think
whenever he was a rookie in the 24 car.
That would have been 8. Oh gosh, how is that throwing it way back?
God, I know, right?
Let me look this up here. 2017 seems to be the rookie year there. Maybe? Yeah.
When did Chase start the 9 car? Did Chase start the 9 car in 18?
Yeah.
He did. All right, so it was 18.
Yeah, okay. Wow, we're gonna get slammed for this if we're wrong. Y'all can correct us. Don't be afraid to correct us.
Okay, let's put it this way. I think Jeff, all right, I take that back. I know Jeff ran a throwback for Bristol in 2015. It was a Chevy SS model. There it is.
And then Ben just helped us out his rookie year, 2018.
There we go.
Byron won the title in 17 for Xfinity. Thank you, Ben. Thank you,
Ben. Don't mind the bumbling idiot over here. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've had a very long day.
Do you have a favorite? I know this isn't necessarily like 2000s-esque, but I always am thrown back to like how much media coverage there was of like NASCAR, at least at that time, especially when it comes to like product placement commercials and that stuff. Is there a favorite like NASCAR commercial that you have?
The Kenny Wallace Stacker 2 commercials. They were
Oh my
gold.
gosh, yes.
With him in the Big Show, that was that was classic right there. And believe it or not, the Jeremy Mayfield Dodge commercials, those were always pretty classic
Really?
too. Yes.
Oh, see, I might be basic. I don't know why. It's always the Michael Waltrip like Napa commercials for me. I don't know why.
His were good because his became so popular that it kind of forced the ones I was just talking about, kind of forced them out of
To
the
step it
picture
up.
because Michael Waltrip became basically the face of any kind of NASCAR sponsorship on TV that was pumped into our brains.
Exactly. Now, I will say the one that like in most recent like history, quote unquote, to like just kill me a little bit was like the what was it? It's the Mobile One. Where is I don't even know if it's Mobile One. Why can't I remember this? But Kevin Harvick, Clint Boyer, uh, just those ones. I can't with those, and I think because they were played so much, and then obviously the ones with like the saving at the pump. Like it was
You
funny at
saved at the
first.
pump? You
Save
saved
the
at the
pump.
pump?
The pump. It's just like those commercials kill me now because like those are the only ones with drivers in them really besides the Chase Briscoe Tony Stewart one and but they play them over and over. I'm like, guys, let's get these guys in commercials, let's go. But I don't know,
It's a
I'm sure
whole
like
it's a whole different game with media and doing like
it
ad
is.
spots, I guess now. So like what was conventional, well, shoot, 20 years ago, the 2000s. God, I'm getting old, Taylor.
Can
This
you
is
believe
scary. Oh man.
22 years ago was the year 2000 and that scares me so much
In the
because it
year
feels like yesterday. It's
it
just
does. It does. Oh, the
man.
Y2K bug. I remember that as scary as a child. And that was
Oh
some
my
classic
god.
entertainment.
Yeah, the 2000s were a time. And I know like 20 years from now, we're going to look back and be like, oh my God, 2022, 2020, that's crazy. And there's a lot that the kids in the history books are going to have to learn. I apologize to kids in the future. We won't go into that, but like, man.
There'll have to be a book written for everything from March of 2020 to now. That'll
Oh
just be
yeah,
its own.
that's an entire book.
Yeah, that's a volume right there.
Now I think because I know Dom really wanted to talk about the Earnhardt country, so we'll leave that for him. But I guess talking about Chase Elliott, this was a topic that one of you guys wanted to bring up. But Chase Elliott and popularity, I think maybe this was actually this might have been Dom as well. But we'll just do this without him. That's fine. But
Sorry,
talking about
Dom.
his popularity, and Dom was saying that Chase would probably be more popular if he could win Daytona and Dega all the time like his dad. Do you think that's true?
Uh, I think it would help give him a bump, but I think Chase Elliott's just going to be popular because of his name and what he has already done. I mean, when he came on the scene, he was winning races and being consistent and having the exposure with his dad. That also helps quite a bit. So yeah, I mean, I think it would bump it, yes, but I don't think it would like make it any like go from like here to like
From here to
here.
like there. Yeah.
Because I think he's already up here. I think it would just put him just another little notch up.
Yeah, just my whole thing with him, and I've said this before, but I think if he was more invested with like media, I think it might have given him a boost up. But I also understand that's a personal choice. Like he has the right at this point to be like, I don't want to do all the media coverage. I don't want to do all the commercials. Like that's fine. That's his life. That's what he wants to do. But no, he is really good. He needs to win. He's won at Dega before, so there's confidence there. 2019. But I'd like to see him, catch up to his teammates for sure. I think Dom's joined the chat. Dom, are you ready? All right, we'll have Dom enter. This is perfect because this is exactly the topic that he wanted to discuss. How are you doing, Dom? Welcome to the chat.
Howdy. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. We were just talking about Chase Elliott, a topic that you wanted to bring up about how he'd be more successful if he could win Dega and Daytona more consistently like his dad.
Yeah, could you imagine what that would do for NASCAR if, because you got to remember, right shortly after Dale Sr. died, Dale Jr. began his streak of 4 consecutive
Yeah.
Talladega wins. And it's like that resurrected the sport. It saved
picked
the
people
sport,
up.
really. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, July Daytona was huge, and then for him to go to Dega and do it again, and then again, and then again, and then when his streak at Talladega ended, he won the Daytona 500, and then won Talladega again. So it's like, man, those are huge wins. And I mean, when you think about Bill Elliott, you think about Talladega and running 210 plus and unlapping himself under green. It's just like we'll never see that again. And just to have that name go to victory lane again. Because I mean, 2019 Talladega, that was a huge race because Chase Elliott just won in the biggest race for the Elliots, if you ask me.
I would agree. No, the thing with Dale, because I mean, I guess it leads into the other topic too about Earnhardt country. But for me, just kind of looking back, like I guess I didn't totally remember that it was the 4 consecutive races, and then there was a big gap, and then 2015 he won at Talladega again. But just how his wins almost resembled his father in a little bit. Just the one, I think. What was it? In 2002, he dominated that race, like totally dominated that.
So the one thing that a lot of people remember is the July Daytona race resembled his dad's last win, because his dad's last win, for people that don't know, it was at Talladega. And within 4 laps, he went from 17th to 1st. That's unheard of.
In 2000, right? This was October 2000?
Yes. Yeah, it was the Winston 500, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It was a Noble 5 race. So it was $2.7 million and $1 million bonus for him to win that race. And that was his
we're getting the money.
That was his 10th win at Talladega. He won there 10 times. I mean, that's the thing. It's like I go back and watch these races, and they would just let him get to the lead and let him lead the bulk of these races, because they were just like, just let him get to the front, because it's not worth racing him right now. Just let him get to where he wants to be, and we'll try to get him later.
As soon as he hit the front, everyone was kind of like, game over. I'll try to get him, but we know he's going to win. Like, especially with those last lap passes, it was over. I mean, or like lap passes within the last like 5 laps. It was over. Oh, we have a few comments I want to get to real quick. Zachary Bell, what's up, Zach? He said Chase is also popular for who he drove for and replaced. Valid. Driving for Junior, a historic sponsor, and replacing a legend. Chase's lack of willingness to embrace pop culture in the media caps his popularity outside of the NASCAR world. Jeff and Junior embraced that. Guys like Bill and Senior didn't.
And that's the thing that people forget too about the team, is when Dale Jr. was winning his race, when Dale Jr. wasn't winning at Talladega, Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson were winning at Talladega.
Yeah.
So I mean, Hendrick was just as good. Hendrick, I mean, just Chevrolet through the whole 2000s, they were killer on the super speedway. So
Chevy was bar none at the super speedway track.
Oh my God! I mean, that's the thing too, is like they talk about. I mean, ECR and Hendrick put all of their resources into
super speedway.
Plate. Yeah, into restrictor plate development. I mean, especially RCR during Earnhardt's time, and a little bit after that. I mean, they put everything into the restrictor plate packages,
and it was successful.
Yeah, so, right. It was
like, successful is an understatement, but it was successful. So yeah.
But no, I agree though that I mean, too, it was also cool because not only did Chase win at Talladega, he won in the 9. And that just made it even better to see him get a win in the 9 car at Talladega. It wasn't the 24 as cool as that would have been. It's a little bit more special. The number 9 of Elliott wins at Talladega. I mean, how much more historic can that get?
I almost feel like it's better that he got his wins in the 9. Like, got the majority of his wins in the 9. Like,
his only wins in the 24 were a dual win.
Yeah, and that's it.
Daytona.
So, and just because it keeps it with the name, and I feel like if he won in the 24, it would have been like first win in the 24 since Jeff Gordon. That's going to like just be the whole thing. It's not just Chase Elliott at number 9. So no, that historical value is crazy for sure.
I agree.
Let's see. What else we got? Oh, I wanted to talk about SRX. I don't know if you guys are up for it. But just talking about the sponsorship, and that kind of leads into a Kyle Busch discussion I wanted to have too with his sponsorship that somebody brought up. But SRX just gained a Sports Clip main sponsorship for Bobby Labonte for when he drives during the series, which is huge. And whoever brought it up on Twitter was sharing, some concern as to, well, does that mean major sponsors are leaving NASCAR, or is it just they're trying to expand? I don't know what you guys thought about that, but whoever wants to have the floor can have the floor. Nobody wants the floor?
Go for it,
I
Adam.
don't know, because I don't think I think people that are saying, oh, they're leaving NASCAR to go to this sport, I think that's a giant overreaction, because this SRX is literally a summer series. It runs June through July. That's your time. NASCAR is almost year round. You're February to November. So I don't think it's, oh my gosh, the ship's going to sink if we lose all these sponsors. I think it's just another outlet for some of these bigger corporations. There's just another way to promote their brand. And what better way to do it than a Saturday night short track race where you're going to get plenty of TV time with a really good production team. So, I mean, I think it's good money.
Yeah, their production is stellar for sure.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but I mean, the best thing I could think of is, I mean, we've seen sponsorship all throughout motorsport. Where, I mean, my best example is when I was when I went to a dirt race at Sharon. It was at a time, I'm trying to think what year it was. So Truex would have been in the Napa car at MWR.
Oh wow!
So Casey Kane, and yeah, so that was probably 2013. But yeah, Truex was in the Napa car, so that meant Casey Kane would have been at Hendrick. So Napa was at MWR, but Casey Kane's sprint cars were sponsored by Napa. So I mean, we've seen these sponsors bleed over into other sports, and it's just they're just looking to get more recognition, is what it is at the end of the day.
And that's what I think it boils down to for sure. Adam, go ahead.
Another good example would be Menards.
Oh
They're
yeah,
all over the place. They're definitely diversifying their portfolios. So that's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think
here comes the neon boogers flying down the backstretch. Gotta love it.
Can we talk though about those Ryan Blaney Menards and just like whatever mashup paint schemes he has? Like they're just gross. I'm sorry, but I can't get behind them.
Woodmans and Jack Links. That's the best.
Yeah, I always liked the Pete car. It didn't matter
the Pete car
what year it was.
All right.
The Pete car always was cool. I just liked when they would only change the car for Peak for Daytona, and it was only when a lot more blue would show up on the car rather than just all bright yellow.
Exactly.
And I just thought that was kind of cool that they got that special treatment and no one else did. Everyone else just got their logo on the hood.
Yeah.
I like the junior cars from the mid 2000s in the Busch series, the neon orange, and then sometimes they do the blue. That was always pretty cool too.
Yeah. I always thought that was weird that they were like trying to prove that it wasn't his Cup car or like differentiate it from the Bud car.
Oh, yeah.
So they made the red a little bright. That was it.
Like they're two different shades of red, but like I know we'll do like a Busch series tier list at some point. You guys have brought it up. We'll do it.
He won the Daytona night race in that Menard car, the red Menards car in 06. And then the blue Busch car, the 81, he swept Bristol with that and the Bud car. See, I don't know why I know all this stuff, but I do.
Nice.
We all know. So if you guys haven't watched the podcast before, or even our trivia episode back on the original Above the Yellow Line channel, we had a trivia episode, and Dom is literally a dictionary, a thesaurus, the internet, just random knowledge. I could quiz him about anything, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head. He'd probably know it, like hands down.
Give it your best shot.
Oh God.
Any Talladega trivia you got for me? Right off the cusp?
No. I had one, but it was really easy trivia.
Ooh, I got a good debate about an old Talladega race.
Okay.
Oh gosh, go for it.
Fall 2008, Tony Stewart, Regan Smith.
Oh, Regan Smith should have won that race.
Thank you. Case closed.
Yeah.
Break it down for me. Break it down for me. What happened?
Hit him up, Dom.
in the words of Sebastian Vettel, you'll like this.
Yes.
Where am I supposed to go?
Love it.
Where else am I supposed to go? So, final corner, and this was right when when they discovered that bump drafting is the only way to race on the super speedways with these cars.
Gotcha.
To maximize speed. So Regan Smith, a rookie for DEI, who had just recently announced that DEI was going to close and merge with Ganassi. So the future was very grim for Regan Smith. He had no idea where he was going. He's a rookie in an unsponsored DEI car and has Tony Stewart, who hasn't won in 08 yet, in front of him. So they go into the tri-oval. Regan Smith tries to make his move. Tony does the right thing. I can't blame him for this. He protects the yellow line. So I'm not go anywhere you want. You're not getting below me. So Regan Smith says, well, he pretty much predicted what happened with Carl and Brad. If I hold my car where I want it to go, Tony Stewart's going in the grandstands.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here. I'm not trying to tear up race cars. I'm not trying to kill this guy. The only place to go is the apron. So he goes to the apron, passes him, crosses the line. NASCAR says, 0-1 car, passing below the yellow line, advancing position below the yellow line.
Yep.
Black flag. Tony Stewart is your race winner.
Number 20, Subway Toyota.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, Alex
so
Adams agrees.
They penalized Regan Smith to the tail end of the lead lap.
That's horrible, and I do not agree with that.
But then we saw exactly what would happen if you would hold your position in the spring race in 2009. That was the Brad and Carl saga.
And that was scary as crap.
And but hey, they gave Brad the win.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
No penalty for Brad for putting a guy through the grandstands.
Literally.
So they'd rather...
Yeah.
No, do I say this? I don't say. I'm not gonna say it.
have at it, boys. Have at it.
Here's my question for Adam, because I feel like he'd remember this. Should Junior have been penalized in 03?
Ooh, I was on board with him being penalized back then, but looking at it now, over almost 18 years, 19 years of digesting it, I think it was the right call.
It was so minuscule. It wasn't blatant like Regan's.
It wasn't like he went a whole lane down. He literally just touched it, came back.
Yeah.
So I guess it's fair, but of course, when Junior was driving for DEI, wasn't the biggest fan of his because he was stealing all these plate wins away from the old Hendrick boys. So I, of course, wanted him to get penalized.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But, I agree with Ben's comment, though. I mean, the yellow line rule is a double-edged sword.
It is.
It really is just a double-edged sword, and no one's. I do and I don't get why they enforce the rule, but I mean, that was the thing. Like back in the day, man, when you would see Dale Sr. just completely go to the grass to pass people on the backstretch and go by people. Yeah. Oh my god! Like he would put his left front tire clipping the grass. Yes. And he would make the corner. So I don't know. But I also, knowing the way these guys race now, it makes sense that they have this rule because they'd be 6 wide down the backstretch and no one's going to lift. So they're all going to fence each other going into 3. And we'll have the 2019 Advanced Auto Parts clash all over again, where only 3 clean cars cross the line before the rain comes.
And with Ben's comment there, it's like also the fact that they're very inconsistent and what they allow versus what they penalize is also frustrating. And because this is one of those calls where it's like up to viewer discretion, at least.
It's like so great.
It's so great because you could hear like what a driver says on the radio. Basically, they're reasoning like I had no choice but to go below, and they're like, yeah, well, it looked like to me, and because the driver's not going to blatantly say it, but no, it's a gray area rule, and I wish there was a different way to enforce it. But I mean, it's. You're never gonna know what a driver's actually thinking when he goes below that line.
You know what you do? You put spikes on the yellow line. That's how you know. That's how you know if they're out of bounds or not. On that,
put some turtles down.
Yeah. Second line. Oh yeah. You put
the turtles down.
Yeah. Put turtles. They're going into the sky.
Oh yeah, no. That's gonna like flip. Do like a Fast and Furious type flip.
No, I'm talking like. I'm talking what they put.
police stripe spikes.
Yeah,
right?
that's
Yeah,
I was
like the
gonna
police
say,
stripe.
I got a flat
Yeah.
again. I clipped
Yeah.
it.
Also, I have a good question from Alex. He said, "Do you think NASCAR has favorites?"
Oh yeah.
Well, it's
Oh,
clear.
absolutely they do. If you
No.
watch the Dale Jr. download when he had Jimmy Spencer on, Jimmy Spencer told a story where he was purposely black flagged so that he wouldn't win the race because one of the NASCAR officials had it out for him.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
So
this is like
yeah,
documented on the Dale Jr. download by Jimmy.
yeah, they have their favorites and they have their enemies. So,
No, definitely have the enemies. I would say now, at least in my opinion. I mean, just seeing with like the whole next Gen 7, I'm not going to call it next gen anymore, but with the Hendrick cars in like the Chevrolet with the IMSA, I think. Like them not approaching anybody else, no other manufacturer, or anything, having like them team up with HMS to make that announcement and have that one manufacturer with the IMSA now. For me, that kind of shows favoritism just a little bit with Hendrick.
I mean, also Hendrick has stupid money too. So
And that's also the thing, is they also bring in the money.
yeah.
Do we have? There's a question. Do we have a chart of what team like finances, like who has the most right now and who's got the lead? Like,
so I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I looked at this a little bit ago, a couple months ago, because I was interested because I was comparing team budgets to F1 team budgets. So
that's
Hendrick
hilarious.
Hendrick obviously. Yeah, for those that don't know, Ferrari spends $650 million a year on their F1 program.
It's crazy. Crazy.
I think Hendrick's at the top. I can look, but Hendrick was at the top, and I think it was either Gibbs or Penske was a close second. And Gibbs and Penske are like right around the same area, but Hendrick was the clear number one in terms of who has the biggest budget for the season.
I feel like Penske, if we're just talking specifically like the NASCAR series, not like IndyCar and that's just with Penske. Okay.
Yeah, just
then
the NASCAR
might be Gibbs
specific.
I would think
I know
Gibbs.
Gibbs at one point was right there with Hendrick, but that was 10 plus years ago.
Yeah, and I think the thing too is Hendrick is obvious. I mean, Hendrick has the money based off of how successful they've been. But I would agree with Taylor. I'd put Gibbs above Penske because Penske and Roush trade information back and forth. They kind of split the Ford performance spectrum.
Right.
But if you want Toyota, you only go to Gibbs. Gibbs is Toyota in NASCAR. So
they've monopolized it almost.
That's why I feel like they would be so much higher because it's not just they are a top tier program, but they are Toyota NASCAR. So
that's kind of what happened to Red Bull because they were forced out because TRD was like, we're just gonna let Joe Gibbs be the chief with it all.
Yeah,
that was a contributing factor. And Triad's engines were not as competitive, so that just kind of killed it all off.
And thus BK Racing was born.
Yes, BK Racing. We hardly knew you.
Wow.
Never got a chance to meet you, but I still love you.
That's a spider web rabbit hole of a race team for another discussion.
Have a conversation. How to throw together a paint scheme in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Easiest fake car to make off of pictures on the internet.
Absolutely.
Yes. I think I actually made the 83 and the 93. Then I made a 73.
I made the 93 for my uncle because he was a Quapple fan.
Nice.
What else we got on the docket, Miss Taylor?
Well, I was going to talk about our favorite paint scheme so far, but if you guys in the chat have any comments or topics you guys want to discuss, NASCAR, non-NASCAR, whatever it is, if you guys want to ask us questions, let us know. We'll give you our opinions, share your opinions. Definitely up for that.
To go back to the SRX thing, though, like I'm happy to see Sport Clips go in.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I was thrilled last year that Napa was cool with following Chase into the SRX race for a one-off. I thought that was cool that they were just like
dedication right there.
Like they were like, "Hey, throw our logo on your car for the race." So I just thought that was cool. That was all I wanted to say.
No, I think that's super awesome that they're willing to do that, and I think like we talked about, the whole product of the broadcast and everything that they have going from them at SRX is great. They just announced today that Bill Elliott's coming back on for 2 races instead of, I think last season he did the whole season. So this time he's just doing 2 races, which probably the best. Yeah, based on how
he's probably still sore. He's probably still sore.
Wouldn't blame him. He did not have good luck, and it broke my heart a little bit. But no, I'm excited for that, and also having the Blaneys, the duel of the Blaneys at the last race, Sharon Speedway, is going to be awesome.
Which is owned by the Blaneys.
Which is owned by them, exactly.
Owned by the Blaneys.
So it only makes sense, but that's going to bring in a lot of eyes.
That'll be a good race.
That will be.
I wonder who's going to sponsor Ryan in that then. I'm sure maybe like Advanced Auto Parts, probably, because they have this whole short track thing.
Yeah, either Advanced or Body Armor. We'll join them for that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Not a sponsor. Let's see. Gabe said they couldn't give Bill a car that would run.
I bet you that's true. That is very true. But I bet you it's Advanced Auto Parts, and they go on him and Dave's car.
Yes.
Because I've seen Dave sport advanced stuff too.
Yeah, that'd be nice. NASCAR Fantasy Live said, have any 3 of you considered trying to do the iRacing College esports? Duh. I got University of North Carolina, and we have way too many iRacers. I have not. I mean, well, actually, yes, I have, because I saw it actually for the first time. Here's the thing: I don't have the equipment, nor the cash for the equipment. But no, that'd be something so cool, and I want to like really get into more racing. I do, obviously, not really the same thing, but I've started to get into some of the old NASCAR games. Like I said, not the same thing, but I think it'd be cool to like start to get into iRacing and just kind of on a small scale figure out what the drivers go through each week, and also because it's a growing industry too, iRacing.
And our 2003 will teach you car control.
Oh yeah.
That's the best. That's the OG.
Yeah, Papyrus.
Game frustrated me.
Papyrus.
Also, Dirt to Daytona. What do you guys feel about that game? Because I know everyone loves it. I feel
Never played it.
Really, Adam, have you?
Never.
I have. I liked it, but I did not think it was as good as Thunder.
No, my hot take, I hated Dirt to Daytona. I think it was just because the cars I wasn't able to control the way I wanted it to, but I do love, this is the one that Alan Bestwick, he narrates, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's what I loved in that one, but I need to go back. I wrote notes on it. I need to pull up my notes on it right now because it's
the biggest thing I liked about it is you actually that was my first taste of a video game of racing on dirt and actually racing the trucks. And I like racing the truck series, but then, you got NASCAR Thunder, Chase for the Cup. That just sent into a whole nother stratosphere.
Well, my thing with Dirt to Daytona
Chase for the Cup was untouchable. Chase for the Cup was good.
That's God tier stuff right there. Yes.
Yeah. And my thing with Dirt to Daytona is it was nice because once you got a feel of like how like the game let you race on dirt, you kind of got into a rhythm with it, so it was a lot nicer. But my notes on this game were in my notes were Alan Bestwick is awesome, and my NASCAR driver's license doesn't go up to the date I was born, so rip was my comments. Dates the game, but that's like the only things I had to say about it at the time. Other than me just like cursing while trying to figure it out.
Oh my god! Wow! Whoa!
So,
man, I thought racing as an 8-year-old was bad. Wow! Man.
I mean, the reason why Chase for the Cup was so good. I mean, what other game is going to give you the opportunity to drag race Ryan Newman in a Dodge Viper?
Isn't that beautiful?
And then he immediately finds your phone number and calls you and connects you with his agent. And then you start racing modifieds.
Yes, wheeling modifieds. That was such a fun series to race.
Yeah, old Red Ball Speedway.
Yes.
Haven't been able to do that
Raceway.
yet.
Old Spice Raceway. Listen, I took the Oreo Busch car out on that track all the time. I love that track.
Me and my cousins, whenever we would have sleepovers, we actually made custom Old Spice cars. I was in.
Oh my gosh!
I was in the 91 and he was in the 19. We had like the same exact designs. We just had different colors. I had a red body. He had a silver body, and we literally had a race coming down to the last hairpin. I was in front of him. I don't know what happened. I feel like I might have wheel hopped into the corner. So I take the inside line. I will hop through it. He comes underneath me and he beats me by a hair. And that was like his one and only win.
So frustrating.
That was the ultimate letdown of my young racing career.
Dang.
But yes.
Oh.
And they were Dodges we were in. Had to be a Dodge.
Had to be a Dodge. I hope they come back to the sport at some point. I really do. I hope the rumors of talks are kind of true. I love that. Gabe has a question before we get to that though. If Jimmy wins the Indy 500, where does he rank in terms of racers of all time? That's a great question.
Oh wow.
So yeah, he would be one of, I think only. He'd be one of maybe two or three. One of three that have won both Daytona and Indy, because I think Foyt and Andretti are the only other two.
I think those are the only two. So they would be on their own Mount Rushmore right there.
Oh yeah.
By far.
I'm double checking this. Yeah, you're correct. You'd be correct.
Yeah, and I think it's also because he was so successful in NASCAR that just spikes it further. Because I was like, well, Montoya's won an F1, IndyCar, and NASCAR. So like,
and that's insane to say you've won all of those, especially.
That's pretty freaking impressive.
It is. Never count JPM out.
Yeah. I know.
So.
But for Jimmy,
that's
it would. He'd be in the top 5, in my opinion.
It would depend on how he won it.
Yeah,
that's true.
If it's a fuel mileage,
if he's class of the field, I mean,
then
that's like this. I mean, because that'll be his 5th Indy win, 4 NASCAR, and then the Indy 500. So that's crazy.
Yeah. No, he's had a lot of speed, I think, from practices that we've seen that he's done, at least so far. Like this season, he's had a lot of speed, which is promising. And obviously, got the fracture, I think, in his hand. Yeah. And now he has a metal rod in his hand, so like that's fun.
Working through that.
Down. Yeah,
no, it didn't slow him down, which is fantastic.
Don't think it's really affecting him much.
No.
When you're turning left, you're pretty steady. Left and right, a little harder.
Hey man, he's turning left at 230 though. That ain't easy.
No, I would hit a wall right then and there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like I'm thinking, I mean, when he won his 4 Brickyard 400s, I mean, they were convincing wins.
Oh yeah, no, by a long shot.
When he won Indy, it was just they were class of the field, and it was like, all right, nobody's touching the 48 today. Well, let's see who's going for second place. So
there's only one of them that we can put an asterisk next to, and it's the race that we never.
The 08.
Never want to mention that race again.
Oh God.
10 laps caution. 10 laps caution. Oh my God. We blew a tire this time.
Do you know? Does Taylor know about the 08 Indy 400?
I don't know.
I do not. I do not.
Do you want to tell her? You don't want me to tell it.
You know what?
Do you want to tell her the bad news?
Here's the thing, Dom. You have such a great storyteller voice, and the way that you just do it so deadpan, and we get such a good reaction. I want you to tell it. I have it on DVD. I have it on DVD, believe it or not. It's one of the longest recorded DVD races I've ever had. Yeah.
Oh my God. So,
and I will say to preface this real quick, I will say, like I said, major NASCAR fan, probably a little bit like casual fan above, but when it comes to history, I am still learning. So bear with me, guys, as we learn the tales from Dom and Adam. Dom, now you can proceed.
So as we open the encyclopedia that is my brain. So we open the encyclopedia that is my brain.
Yep.
So
turn to page.
The long and short of it before the race was Goodyear got the tire set up for Indy completely wrong. Completely.
Oh.
Friday practice and testing was a nightmare. Everybody crashed. No tire would last. So NASCAR decided to start, they would do a competition yellow every 10 laps so the teams could check tires.
Are you kidding me?
They didn't make it.
They didn't make it to the competition yellows because tires were blowing out. But the first yellow came in, the first blown tire came out within the first 10 laps, and it was Kenseth. And then they did another 10-lap caution, no incidents, but I mean, the tires were shredded. So they did another 10 laps, and then they said, okay, we're getting better. There's rubber on the track. I think we're getting a little better. So then they did 15, and they kept having tire problems, but there weren't like severe blowouts. But it was just that the tires didn't last.
Everything was
Oh,
cording.
it's painful.
Yeah, they were
Terrible.
cording within 7 laps. People were getting vibrations within 7 laps.
They were getting within 3 laps.
So
At that
Jimmy
point, I would
Johnson,
just stop the race.
Jimmy
Well-
Johnson won that race because he was up front and they were just ahead of their tire problems before everybody else. And they just got they
Yeah.
were just quick enough that they could just pull away and then worry about their tire strategy after that. So
Carl-
it was
Carl Edwards had a shot on the
Still a
last
win.
restart, but he smoked his tires on the first lap back, and that doomed him. He literally was the only person that could see Jimmy's bumper, and he smoked his tires, and that was it. Game over.
A win is a win, though. Tires being crappy and all.
and I think Goodyear took that same tire profile to Pocono and there was no issues like the next week.
So then what?
Because
Why?
NASCAR normally takes the same
Right.
Indy tire to Pocono because the tracks are so similar in terms of banking and speed.
Yeah.
But the second Pocono race there was no issues at all. It was just it's also they repaved Indy.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay. Then that makes sense.
I think they repaved Indy and just rubber. I think that was the issue, was that rubber wasn't sticking, and the track was just eating up the tires.
That and the side
makes sense.
force from the stock cars being heavier, going at their rate of speed into the 4 corners, a lot more stress on those tires compared to Pocono, where you have a longer time for the air pressure to build up in the tire down those long straightaways before you hit your turn. So a lot of factors, but yeah, the repave really did a number with that 2008 race.
Yeah,
it was a mess.
That race is probably what helped ruin the Brickyard 400.
Yes, that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
So do you
the
think
only
it needs
thing
to
that could have
come
saved
back?
it? I mean, oh, absolutely it does. But Jeff Gordon, Jeff Gordon helped save it in 2014 when he won his 5th.
Right.
But it was so bad. It was
Gabe
so bad.
said, do you remember Paul Menard's random win at Indianapolis?
I do, because Tony Stewart was in the lead and everyone was thinking he's going to get his 3rd win at home, and then he had to pit, and then it came down to Paul Menard's in the lead and Jeff Gordon's in 2nd, and everyone, including me, was saying Jeff's going to catch him.
Oh yeah.
It's like, of all the people he needs to pass for the win, are you kidding me?
Like
he'll have him in 2 laps.
He'll smoke him.
Couldn't get him.
Yeah. Nope.
Couldn't get him. Paul Menard.
Everybody was getting hard for Menard that day. He got the dub. God, I missed that hashtag. I missed that hashtag. It was a hashtag. Everybody used it.
Gosh.
If you know, you know.
Wow. If you know, you know, folks. Message of the
I
day.
guess
You know,
so.
you know.
Yes.
Wow.
Uh,
Any other in the chat, if you guys any other questions you guys want to talk about, let us know. I think at this point we'll probably get into like our thoughts going into this weekend, and maybe some fantasy lineup talk to help everyone else out on what we think might happen. Maybe not, as much as we can predict, I guess. But
I'll give you some advice for fantasy. Just put some numbers on some balls and just put them in a giant cup, shake it up, pull out 5.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
You're telling me to predict the unpredictable is what you're telling me to do right now.
But that's the fun part, you guys. And then we get to see how well we did or how horrible we did and disappoint ourselves. That's the fun part. But no, who do you guys I do this on the show every week, the 2 watch 2 worry going into each weekend. 2 guys I'm going to be worried about, whether for a good reason or a bad reason. Then 2 guys I'm like, they have a really good shot at winning. For you guys, who are 2 guys that you're worried about going into Talladega?
Go ahead, Adam.
Oh, Denny Hamlin. He's one.
Mine too.
Yeah, I think Denny. I mean,
4 DNFs so far.
Yeah, just he's got to have something break through for him again. Even though he has a win in the bank, he just does not look like the same Denny Hamlin.
And that's my thing with, and I've mentioned this before, but with the win and you get in, it totally invalidates. Like if you've had a horrible, like a crap season and you get one win and you're like low in points without the win, like getting you into the playoffs, like what is that? Like you're getting rewarded for that one win versus like, I don't know how many, 26 weeks, 28 weeks is the regular season, something like that, somewhere in there.
20.
Probably about 28.
28, yeah. So you're 1 week out of that 28 gets you into the playoffs. 27 weeks of just crap also gets you into the playoffs. So that's where I'm like, I don't know. I'm sure Denny will pick it up. I really do. But he's had one race where he's finished inside the top 10, and that was his win. Everything else has been outside. It's just not looking good for him. So that's my anger with it. But I don't know. Just a thought.
Think another driver, and I don't know if it's real. I was gonna say one other driver, but that might be someone either you or Dom thinks might be more concerned. But I'm gonna go with Kurt Busch. Let's see if that Toyota. Let's just keep going with hating on the Toyotas right now.
Honestly, though.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys, but gotta get a breakthrough. He has had some bad luck this year. He's had some decent results, but nothing great or anything to sneeze at. So I mean, it'd be cool to see the old monster Toyota back at the front and getting a W, or at least a decent top 5. Some good recognition for the brand.
See, mine might be controversial. I'll give you one to worry about though, because this guy's also kind of a to watch, but I'm also concerned if he doesn't do well. Worrying about Bubba Wallace, quite honestly. I mean, you mentioned Kurt Busch, so I gotta worry about Bubba Wallace too. He has had a horrible season. I know we said that last year. Then he got his breakthrough win at Talladega. Yet again, he's finished like P2 and then first place in the past like 3 super speedway races we've had. So you would expect him to do well. It's just a matter of, is the 2022 season bad luck going to get him? And it could get anybody at Talladega. Like we said, it's unpredictable. But concerned if he doesn't do well, what is that going to mean for the rest of the season? But I also don't want to base it on a race of chance. But clearly he has super speedways sort of figured out in some way, shape, or form. Gabe's said 2311 won't improve until Denny retires or drives for them. Interesting comment. And then Adam actually said not worried about Bubba I'm worried about not Bubba. Comment. Curious. Maybe some clarification. Gabe also said to watch Wallace and Brad K. Who are you worried about, Dom, going into this weekend?
I'm gonna stick on the Toyota parade. Martin Truex Jr. has never won a restrictor plate race.
No, he hasn't. That's
He's
true.
never won a super speedway race, and this could be a race that could put a huge dent in the points for him. Because all it takes is getting caught up in a wreck, and you go from wherever he is. Let's just say he's 5th in the points. It could put you down to 10th in one race if you're not careful. So I'm worried about Truex, not just because he's never won a super speedway race, but because he hasn't won yet in 2022, and that could come back to haunt him in a very big way.
I'm going to look at the point standings too right now, because I think that's important to look at as we're talking about all this. But no, you're right. Especially, I mean, any race you wreck out of, it's going to kill your points. But early on in the season, you want to be in a comfortable position. I mean, Chase Elliott is still technically in the points lead from what I'm seeing. Blaney's in second, if we're not basing it off of just wins, which is still insane to me, just because I've kind of thought Elliott's season's been kind of subpar, personal opinion. Of course, Byron's ranked first, though, just because he has 2 wins. But still, are we concerned about Elliott or Blaney this weekend? I know they're kind of considered favorites. I mean, they do generally well at Talladega. Chase has won once. Blaney, of course, has those wins. Are we concerned?
I'm not worried about Blaney because Ford has already proven that they've got speed on for speedways. So not worried at all about Blaney. Chase, I just think in terms of the way his luck has been this year, I would put him on my worry list because I just feel like the way he's driven this year, and not like saying how he drives personally is not good. It's just where his car has been.
Right.
Could put him in a very, very bad situation at Talladega.
That's true.
I can see that. But I also know that Chase, I'll counter argue that if I may.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Chase is definitely a mid to late season bloomer.
He is.
So he even if he has a bad Dega, the worst he probably could fall to is not even out of the top 10 in points if he's already
That's
has the
true.
lead. So if he can just survive this, get past the 600 in about a month, then we're on a bunch of good tracks that are more suited to his driving style and just that time of year. I think the 9 car will be okay. But as far as the rest of the Hendrick cars, it could be. Oh, sorry, not my turn. It's your turn still, Dom.
No, it's okay. I was right there with you. I agree with the Hendrick stable. I mean, any of them can win on any given Sunday. It's just the way it goes. But doing some research today. I mean, Byron hasn't won on a super speedway. He did in the Xfinity series at Daytona,
but not in Cup yet.
Yeah,
Byron's won at Daytona.
Oh yeah, he won Daytona.
Yeah, he won Daytona.
That was his first career win. That's right. I'm sorry. So I mean, he knows how to do it, and I mean, he just won Atlanta. That has now become, in essence, the same style of racing. I wouldn't say it's a super speedway race, but it's that same pack racing. So he knows how to lead. He knows how to keep the lead. Bowman just knows how to be there when it matters,
which is some of the most important racing you can have in your brain.
It's so funny. I think it's hilarious right now, the parallels, because people can't stand Alex Bowman for the way he wins races, because he just comes out of nowhere in the end and steals the show. But that's exactly what Kevin Harvick did his whole career at RCR, and people loved it.
The closer.
Yeah, and so
before he was the closer.
I just found that interesting. And then I mean, Larson's numbers have not been good at Talladega. I think he's only got only got one top 10 in his whole career at Talladega, and it was in his first start there.
His numbers in general this season have been awful too, in general. But
so I mean, that's the thing too. It's like, if his car will last the 188 laps, he's got a chance. But even before that, I'd say I would put no money on him to win Talladega.
Because my thing is,
he's not a super speedway racer. That's not his style.
No.
He is much better on racetracks where the grip goes away and it's up to him to keep the car straight.
Right.
And that's mile and a halves, short tracks, and the occasional. I mean, at first I thought he could only win a 2-mile D-shaped in his career, but quickly learned how to win Richmond, which is also a D-shaped oval. But
the thing with Larson is, if he doesn't do well this weekend for Larson, I mean, he will probably fall out of the top 10 in points. If we're not counting the win, if we're just strictly looking at points, he will fall out of the top 10 if he doesn't do well this weekend. I can guarantee it.
Yeah.
But it also depends on how bad everyone else does, to be honest. For sure. Who are we expecting to do well this weekend?
Me?
Go ahead, Dom.
Yeah. I mean, this could be like our winning picks for this weekend too. Obviously, at this point. But
I'm on the opposite end of Adam. I think it's Denny time. I think Denny.
Really?
I don't know what it is about him. I just think he finds a way. I mean, Richmond found a way to win. Talladega 2020, below the yellow line or not, he found a way to win. 2014 Talladega, he found a way to win. Daytona 500. 3 times found a way to win. So, I mean, he's very good in super speedways, and it's all about setting yourself up and holding the lead. And there's not many people that can hold the lead as good as Denny Hamlin. So I like him. And then for the sole fact that he's the winningest active driver, Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, Brad is the guy that I think will do well this weekend. And he's been picking up speed too. I mean, Bristol Dirt is like a whole different topic about how well we saw drivers do, because it's dirt. It's not what we usually see. But I mean, then again, he did really well. He cracked into the top 5 in the last few laps, and now it was start and go. But and obviously not the top driver, I would say, at RFK right now. I think Chris Buescher has that title, but nevertheless, I would look at Chris Buescher too for this weekend. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, and RFK had pace. RFK had pace in the Daytona 500. So their super speedway programs there. If they're bringing the same stuff from Daytona. So that's why I'm still positive on the Keselowski side. It was a little, I mean, based on the rest of the season, any other track I wouldn't pick him, but I just think because of his experience there, and Roush is actually fairly legit at the super speedways.
Adam, who are you watching this weekend?
I was giggling there because I was thinking back to commercials that stuck in my head, and well, Dom brought up one of the best Denny Hamlin ones.
It's Denny time.
Denny time. Oh my gosh. If you guys haven't seen that commercial, look it up. I swear it just gets passed around ever so often in the group chat.
It's the Toyota sponsor fire commercial.
Oh, just what a time that is. But
Yeah, that
Denny
was a good time. Denny time. Moving along. Blaney.
Blaney, yep.
Enough said. He's always there. Yeah, I mean, come on. It's Blaney.
Yeah.
It's Blaney, baby. Hop on the Blaney train. Toot toot. Let's go down
He's
the boulevard.
got to get a win. It's gonna happen. I mean, you know, I will say, correct me if I'm wrong here. If you don't agree, that's totally fine. But for me, looking back at Joey Logano's 2018 championship season, I feel like I'm seeing parallels. I might be projecting like a huge jinx in the future for Blaney, but I feel like his season's starting off really quiet and slow. He's going to get to the playoffs, going to sneak his way in just a little bit. He's going to do really well. And then championship 4, dark horse to win, he's going to win it. Just my thing. Like, I feel like he has a win coming in the next few weeks. I don't know Vega. He'd be the guy to do it, though.
He would be the guy to do it. And that's the thing. I mean, he's won, to my knowledge, 4 super speedway races in his career, if we're counting duels.
If we're counting duels,
I mean, he's got 2 Talladega and then Daytona last year, right? The Cook 0400.
Yes.
Almost certain he won that race. Yeah.
Yes.
In the body armor car. So, I mean, he's proven that it's one thing to have the horsepower. It's another thing to handle the horsepower. And
exactly.
And it's also, I mean, you got to think, Blaney had Logano and Keselowski to rely on for super speedway knowledge. And these 2 guys have dominated super speed. The whole 2010s was Keselowski Logano trading wins. Keselowski owned Talladega, and Joey was a Daytona 500 champ that would get his fair share of Daytona wins as well. So he had a lot of knowledge and a huge notebook to work with at Penske.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what's really helped him the most.
And I would say agree with Gabe in the chat here. He said Blaney has got to step up in the clutch moments. I feel like I don't necessarily think Blaney chokes. I just don't think he has the car to sustain himself on long runs. And I think we've just seen that, or at least he'll lead 100 laps. And then stage 3 happens, a pit stop issue, or just doesn't have the right setup, and then isn't able to get back into it. And then it's just total pain going into the rest of the race, just thinking what could have been Blaney dominating a race but can't close it out.
You know, Adam, I'd love to hear your opinion on this, because I just feel like it's so different now because the cars are so equal and they're just so different. But I feel like back in the day, when it's a final restart, not with like 2 to go, but we're talking like maybe 15, 10 to go, guys like Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, like they just found another gear on their and they would when the race is on the line, guys like Kyle, Jimmy, I don't want to say Jeff because he never knew how to do restarts.
No, he was terrible.
I mean, even
that's coming from a fan of Jeff's. He was terrible.
And again, like Harvick, Kurt Busch, like I mean, it's different now because of the next gen car, but with the COT and the Gen 6, they found 5th gear and no one else had it.
And they also had single file restarts too. So you had to pass like a lot of people. If you were deep in the field,
it was just,
you had to pass.
It didn't, they would say, it's like, so here comes the restart. Let's just say Brad Keselowski's the leader. Kyle Busch is in 7th, but that doesn't mean anything. And sure enough, he would gain maybe 3 spots in one lap. And instantly you're like, okay, so Kyle Busch is officially a player in this. So they would find, so that's what I would say. I feel like it's different with these cars, but I just think if Blaney had that killer mentality, he would be so much better in this sport.
I think a lot of it does have to do with the car now, but even before the new car, the previous car, it almost felt like either all the drivers were licking stamps and sending them, or nobody was. And that's why no one could go from 10th to 5th in a lap. So either everyone was pulling the Daniel Ricciardo or everybody was sleeping. So I do think that you have to have that type of mindset where I'm going to get up on the wheel and I'm going to wheel this SOB to the front. Yeah.
And it's just like, I mean, it's
hard. It's hard. This car is not, it's very different. Very different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you could just tell based on like what I've been thinking of the kind of racing we were watching back in the day, where it's like Kyle was so good at going from mid-pack to the front, and Jimmy Johnson was so good at having all the hounds behind him and just getting up and going and just leaving them all in the dust. It's just right when you thought you had him, he bolts and somehow finds more speed. And they're like, where are they getting this?
I also think Chad played a big part with Jimmy too, because Chad had he had a killer instinct too, because you could do a lot more with those cars. You had a lot more wiggle room than you have now. You were in such a tight box with this car compared to the old COT, the previous car, and even before the COT. The playbook was very vast. Now it's very minuscule.
Narrow.
You can't do anything.
No, you basically plug a laptop into it and that's it. You can't do much.
Taylor, do you know that they used to change engines after practice, after qualifying? They'd have a qualifying engine, a practice engine, and a race engine.
Did not know that, but that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, the 98 Daytona 500, I was listening to Larry McReynolds talking about it. They changed engines 3 times that week, and there were no penalties.
Seriously? Yeah, because now it's like a big no-no. Like you have to race with the engine.
The engines are sealed. Yeah, they wouldn't put the Daytona 500 engine into the car until after the duels.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Practice with it.
Yeah.
Those things were on the edge of grenading. That they would calculate how many miles that engine could get at that peak performance.
It's so funny. Looking at old pictures from like the early 2000s of NASCARs, and you can tell when they're in qualifying trim because the whole nose is taped.
Oh yeah,
just zero valence. Yeah.
If it had a hole, it was covered up in quali.
Yeah.
And you could hear it too. The pitch of the cars, just that high pitched whine. What was it? 05 Atlanta with Ryan Newman. That's the one that always sticks out in your head, Dom.
Talking about car noise
for the qualifying.
For qualifying?
Yeah, when he was like that. I think he put a lap down at 195. He was going
I'm trying to think.
He was going 200 into the corners at Atlanta.
I'm the COTs. I remember watching. I think it was Jimmy qualifying at Atlanta, and just it was one of those where it was so sideways off the corner, and he was still a tenth and a half above pole.
Dang.
Those cars are
just ridiculous.
Yeah, and again, that was when they had the high horsepower, so those things were screaming all around the track.
Bring back higher horsepower. That's just my thing. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Love to see that with these cars.
Edge of control, high horsepower, low downforce.
Yeah, that's what Harvick said. Harvick on Dale Jr. Downloads, if it was up to me, we'd be running 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
With the 1-inch blade on the back.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Man. Well, is there any other?
Good luck getting that thing through the corner.
You have to do. I think I'm gonna make the corner.
Lifts.
Don't lift.
And that's the thing too that I find interesting is guys want to lift. Have you noticed now every track you're pretty much full throttle all the way around. Guys have said we want to lift going into the corner and have to work it around the corner and stuff like that. And it's just
because that's how
having
it
to be.
Yeah, was exactly. Good. That's when it was really good. The product of getting the throttle management, like Dom said, you're just this the whole time. Brakes are for pitting. That's it.
It's just the old Atlanta videos, just listening to Harvick doing his classic line, but you can hear him feather it all the way around the corner. And you can just see it's just fluctuating. He's trying to find the perfect spot, right when he thinks he can go, back end slides, and he has to let off. And just there was so much input into the car.
Yeah.
That's when they were racing.
Bring it back.
I wish it was that easy.
Bring it all back.
Oh, I missed those.
Well,
days.
Guys, is there anything else you want to mention? Anything else before we close it out? Any other topics? Anything else you guys can think of?
I don't know. Not that I know
Jeffrey Earnhardt, pole position for the Xfinity series. How about that?
How about them
We-
Earnhardts?
We talked about that at the beginning of the show before you guys joined, but just how big of a moment that is.
Larry Mack.
Bringing it
I tell you
back.
what.
Larry Mack bringing the smoke.
Love that guy. Like, it's just
It's like I'd love for Jeffrey to win, to get another Earnhardt win on the board.
yes.
Yes.
And then for Larry Mack to come out of retirement 20 years
To win the
later
first
and
one
win
that he's back at.
at Talladega, yeah, just like that
20
would
years
be,
sabbatical.
goated.
It was a sabbatical.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
He
it.
didn't
Just
retire
sabbatical.
technically. Yeah.
And
No,
it's
that
like
would
that's
be
the thing too, is
fantastic.
like he's been spending his last 20-something years telling the crew chiefs how to be a crew chief.
Yeah. And now he gets to come
he's
back and be
gonna
like,
come out-
watch
Just to
me.
show improvement.
Yeah, if he wins this race, what a flex that would be.
We all want it. We need merch if that happens, of just him just we need a quote. And
Larry
then
Mack with his
America's
arms
crew
folded.
chief.
Yeah,
America's crew chief.
just a pose, just a.
Well, we'll close off with this topic about the Darlington Paints games. Like I said, next week, hope if Wi-Fi works out, I'm hoping to have one of my buddies, Rob Branding, on the show. He's a really good graphic designer. He made the Above the Line logo, talking through the Darlington Paints games, maybe doing a tier list with them. But for right now, with the ones we have out, which ones are we liking? Which ones are we not? I guess starting with, are there ones that we just don't like? I don't know if there are yet, or
I've only seen a few schemes.
Yeah, I haven't seen
I saw
that many.
I saw one today that I really liked.
which one?
Right now on my list of ones that I have seen, at number one is Harrison Burton's throwback to his daddy's car.
Oh, I
Exxon
love that
battery
one.
scheme
Yeah.
with the lightning. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Gabe mentioned this in the chat. He said it's basically just Mark Martin throwback weekend. It's basically
really
what I
is.
said. I'm like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Yeah.
So, no, I like.
It's too bad that Roush couldn't snag Viagra again for a race.
Oh, that would have been.
I
What
wonder
What
why
a
they
throwback
couldn't
that
do
would have been.
Yeah. That's too bad.
I like Corey LaJoy's throwback.
Marty Robbins.
Actually,
Marty Robbins.
Marty Robbins. And he has like the 777 on there.
Yeah.
So cool.
The purple and yellow.
Yeah.
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 Here, I'm gonna share screen if you
I
guys
think
don't know what I'm
Tyler-
talking about.
I think
Yeah,
Tyler
please
Reddick
do.
ran that car. Did Tyler run that one last year?
No.
Somebody
He ran
ran a Marty
some.
Robbins car.
This is a little joy car we're talking about.
That's
Marty
cool.
Robbins. Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize he had the Stacking Pennies logo on the hood. That's actually really neat. Huh.
There's my
That's
internet.
awesome. I love that.
Oh, where are you?
There's that. What are you looking up?
I am trying to find that car that I'm speaking of. I know.
Oh,
it's-
Fox. Gabe says Fox should put Mark in the booth at Darlington. That'd be beautiful, and I actually love that.
Yeah, they should put Daryl, Larry, and Mike in the booth.
Yes.
Yes,
If they don't,
please.
I will cry. We need that to happen. So
Because
bad.
like that was the thing. Like, I was so excited for the first throwback race because I
Yes,
knew
it
Ken
was last
Squire
year.
was going to announce again.
Yeah.
I was so pumped for that, and it was him, Dale Jarrett, and Kyle Petty. Like that was so good. And It
Yeah.
was just so good to hear his voice again. It was incredible.
We were actually talking, Dom, about some of the best announcers or some of the best. What were we talking about yesterday? Like announcers in the
Oh,
sport?
so we were talking the best analysts.
Analyst,
who-
yeah.
Who analyzes the sport the best? And I said Kyle Petty is
You
the
said Kyle
best
Petty.
analyst in NASCAR right now.
That'd be a really good roundtable discussion just overall.
Oh, yeah. That would
Anybody
be
to do, really, but.
a fantasy booth. Who would be in it?
Oh.
Daryl, Larry, and Mike.
Yeah.
Ah,
That's it. That's
game
mine.
over.
Done.
Daryl, Larry, and Mike, and Ken Squire on pit road.
Alan Bestwick, can he be in there in some shape or form?
He
Because
could
I
be a
just
pit
I
road
just
guy.
love him.
He's
Pit road,
in the NASCAR countdown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's doing
he's in the
NASCAR
countdown to green.
Countdown
Yeah.
green.
Ah.
with what's his name? Brad
Oh,
Doherty.
Brad Doherty.
Oh,
yes.
Brad. Oh, I
Doherty.
love Brad.
Oh
Man.
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 I
My
do. I
man.
wanted to mention.
My man.
Had to sneak one in.
For you,
Alex
Matt. I love
Bowman.
you.
That is for you, Mr.
I love
Decent.
Matt will be on the show at some point. The plan is to have him on. I tried to get him on the show tonight, but he's racing in the IDK Players racing series. So, how is he doing? Have you checked in on that yet, Adam? Or recently?
I can get an update. Let me get an update.
I'm curious on update. I love Alex Bowman's throwback this year, and it might just be I'm a huge
Oh,
sucker for his
yes.
lines on a car.
That car
But,
is
like,
good looking.
The car's
That car is
smooth.
very good looking.
I'm throwing it on the screen. Hold up. Share screen. I feel like I'm on Zoom, but I'm really not using Zoom. Okay, here we go. This beauty. Woo!
Yeah, that's a good looking
It's
car.
just pretty.
Ugh.
If you're on their website, you better put the 24 up there too, because that one's a pretty one too.
How am I finding this out? No, tell it. Oh, here we go. Yeah. I wish the blue was darker, not gonna lie, but like it's okay. It's fine. It's
Oh,
still
it's-
gorgeous.
I mean, that's also just the rendering of it.
Yeah.
So it may come out
It's
a
on
little
track.
darker. That's a
No,
good
that's
looking car.
nice. And then I'm sure Elliott just announced his.
I did see his. I don't know if I like his.
I'm not a big fan of his.
Yeah,
Jimmy
I don't like
Means throwback.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I
Now,
thought at
Lars-
first it was
I mean,
Truex
The
throwback.
throwback
really?
is good.
It almost looked like it at first. Like if you took the
Oh.
front half, it looks like Truex's car from, was it 2010 when he first went to Michael Waltrip?
2010.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2010.
Oh. No kidding.
That's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah. That is funny. I didn't even notice
Could
that.
be inadvertently a Truex throwback too, but I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't think Larson's introduced his yet. I don't think he's announced his throwback. Might as well check. No, he hasn't. All right.
They're on
well,
They are on lap 98 of 188 on their fifth caution. Matt is not in the top 10.
So that's
don't
okay.
know.
He's doing the classic Jeff Gordon strategy.
Yes.
Go to the back and just let them wreck
Just
each other.
back.
Hang out.
Oh yeah.
See if I can get it. See if it updates.
That was the
Oh,
worst, though,
hey,
about
Tom.
super speedway races.
Ben
Go
agrees
ahead.
with you. Kyle Petty's one of the most underrated drivers we have as an analyst right now. His interviews in particular, I love his interviews. The coffee talk or whatever with Kyle Petty,
Yeah.
so good. The episode with Brad Keselowski was one of my favorites that I've watched of his. But
I'll have to watch
even
that.
though I highly recommend it, I need to look up the actual name just so I can make sure. But no, his interviews.
I think
even
it's Coffee with Kyle.
Coffee with Kyle.
I think.
I think that is, yeah.
You're correct. It's Coffee with Kyle.
Coffee.
Let me go.
Yeah,
With
highly
Kyle.
recommend that. And then let's see what else. What else in the comments? I wish NASCAR would do a throwback race on Labor Day weekend.
Can't
No.
happen now.
It can't happen.
Don't-
No, because then you're just taking away from the Southern 500.
Yeah.
Hey, we should be
Because
thankful
I mean,
that
if that's the case, we'd still be doing throwbacks for the Daytona 500.
yeah, that's just
So.
not right.
What were you saying, Adam?
Well, what I was about to say was we should just be thankful we have two races at Darlington. One of them
Yes.
Thursday.
Yeah.
And that
Yes.
one could be the throwback. I am absolutely fine with that. I think it's better too. I'd rather have the throwbacks at the beginning of the season than at the end of the season because if I want to get some cool retro looking merch, I can wear it through the entire season instead of just the last fall part of the season.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and I agree. I mean, it's back to how it used to be. It's Darlington twice a year.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
and it's again, the first race is 400, and then you work on the Southern 500.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
the prelude to the big dance.
Do you think Darlington's in
Prelude to the
jeopardy of
dream is
losing a
copyrighted.
date?
What'd you say?
Do you think Darlington's in danger of losing a date on the schedule
Oh,
in the
no.
future?
No.
No, if they're gonna
That's
add to it, they're not gonna subtract.
Good.
They already felt the wrath of subtracting one race from Darlington, and we finally have gotten it back. And thankfully, that was one positive from the pandemic that we did receive, is getting a bonus race at Darlington.
We got 3 Darlington races.
We had 3 Darlingtons in one season. Look, I was over the moon. That was so awesome.
That was fun.
That was.
That was fun.
Those are good races too.
Yeah.
That was it was so cool. Thursday night at Darlington.
You know,
What a dance.
honestly really liked the pandemic schedule. Just like having the midweek races. I don't know. It was just something fun to look forward to.
It was
I don't know.
weird. It was
Yeah.
just weird.
It was odd, but like just because I think it was just with the pandemic too and how life was for everybody at the moment. It was nice to
Yeah.
have something to just kind of.
I think we were all
Forward.
striving for any form or outlet of entertainment at that point. So we would
Yeah.
take
Oh,
a midweek race. I did not. Now looking back, I do not want a midweek race. But that was preposterous hearing that kind of talk.
Valid.
Yeah, no. And
no.
plus, I mean, I'm just still hoping. I mean, it'll never be the same again, but I'm just hoping that we could get a full weekend of racing again where you've got a full day for practice and then
Yeah.
Saturday's qualifying into the Xfinity race or truck race and then Sunday's the Cup race.
My thing is,
But
I don't think they're ever going to
doubt
bring
we'll
that
ever get
back.
back to that again.
I think financially, one, they realized it's better to not, and two, yeah, economic. The money factor comes into play. I think they realized.
No, that's
the
another
thing,
reason
though.
why.
It's like,
That's another reason why Darlington won't lose that race date is because that is a economical race. It's 2 hours away from Charlotte.
yeah,
it's close.
that's the thing. Like, you would think they would build up a full weekend for Charlotte and Darlington where there are going to be people in the pits or in the garage wanting autographs all weekend long. So, I mean, you would just, all right, we're going to have 3 practices for the 600. So,
now we're going way back.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy with
like that, yeah.
Now with the 600, I looked this up because I was about to just blow some money on like hot passes, cold passes, but I messaged like them on Twitter and I was like, hey, like looked at your website. I didn't see anything, like, just seeing what's up or where I can find them. I guess they stopped since the pandemic. They're no longer giving out like hot passes and stuff like that.
Interesting. To fans, interesting.
To
Maybe
fans.
it's just for media only.
I think it's just media. They're still doing like, I think like the pre-race where you can go like on the track like while driver introductions happen, but otherwise being on there during practice and qualifying I think is done, which is a shame. I don't know, I think other tracks have followed suit. I don't think all of them have, but I was lucky to get the hot pass experience in 2018 at Kentucky, I know, but like still just I hate that people aren't going to be able to get that. Man. Especially at the 600. That's crazy.
Pass. Oh my god. Dom, have you ever had a hot pass?
Have I ever had a hot pass, Adam?
Please tell me.
What a question.
I'm glad you asked. My first hot pass experience was Homestead 2017.
Nice.
And Dale Jr. almost backed into me.
Oh.
Backing up his car, he came within, I think, this.
With his car.
With his car, yeah. Man, I'll show you the video later. But yeah, he came very close to hitting me, and it was pretty hilarious how close he got.
Man,
I'm curious. Go ahead, Adam. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I got my own story.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, I'm curious, y'all in the comments, if you have hot pass experience, let me know. I'm always curious to hear what everyone else has. I met with mine. Let's see. I met Ryan Blaney for like a solid 5 minutes. Really, really nice. I didn't realize, like, I'm not trying to say like he's short because he's not, but I'm like 6 foot, like 5'11". So I just, anytime I'm like meeting someone for the first time, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I am super tall. But like he was super nice. I almost went up and met Kyle Busch, but I'm not gonna lie, I was a little intimidated. My grandpa was like, go, because my whole family got hot passes. He was like pushing me towards him, and I was like, I am good. I am fine back here. Like
watch
so
from
I
a
didn't.
distance.
I was like, I will just see from a distance. No, and I got to meet Austin Dillon, Chris Buescher, a few other drivers, like very briefly. But no, it was super, super cool, and it was honestly like the experience that wanted me. I was like, I want to be in the sport. This is so cool. It got me super invested. But I'm curious, like Adam, so when did you get a hot pass?
2009.
Wow.
Whoa.
A long time ago. Yes.
At Charlotte?
Oh my god.
Yes, at Charlotte. Yes. Now that week I was lucky enough to get a hot pass, and more so a behind the scenes look for the All-Star race.
Wow.
Being family friends with Steve Burns had its perks. So we kind of got the VIP treatment that entire week because they had speed streets in uptown Charlotte. So we got to go hang out backstage, got to meet Larry McReynolds, got to meet Brandon McReynolds. That was the big driver I got to meet, along with Elliott Sadler and Jeff Hammond. So that was pretty cool. Then he he had us come out to the All-Star race. So we watched. They had the burnout. They used to do the burnout competition on the front stretch.
Yeah.
For the Open. So we watched that in his RV with his wife and his son, and then we went out into the track for pre-race, and then the race. So we got to watch it from down the pits, and that was awesome.
Oh my gosh!
Then the following week, my dad, he had won hot passes through his workplace for the old Nationwide series. So we got to go see qualifying down on pit road, and that was cool.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
So yeah, those are my 2 hot pass experiences. They were a week apart from each other, but those were the only 2 times I had it.
Wow. No, if you guys can ever get hot passes or if any like type of experience like that, go for it if you can. It's so cool. And you get to see up close and personal and get to be like near the crews, pit boxes, in the garage with the cars, get to meet some drivers along the way. No, it's an awesome experience. I think on that note, speaking of positive things, we'll probably close out the night here. Yeah, let us know your pit experiences, your hot pass experiences in the comments. I love reading those stories and your stories about the sport. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Adam, Lucas, Tom, Joseph, and me, Taylor Kitchen, from Above the Yellow Line. We do live streams most Fridays. Next week, I mentioned him earlier, but Rob Reining will hopefully be joining the show, and we'll talk about some Darlington throwbacks, like I said, bearing in mind Wi-Fi. Make sure to follow us on our social media pages. We got _ Taylor Kitchen _ for me on Twitter, then Toby Christie.com on YouTube, where you're watching this now. Make sure to subscribe to that and turn on your notifications for our newest episodes of Above the Yellow Line, usually out Tuesday nights. We might be shipping that as summer's happening, so stay tuned for that. And then obviously Above the Yellow Line on Instagram, Twitter. Adam, what is your Twitter handle?
At alucas9166.
And Dom?
At DomJoseph22.
So make sure to give those guys a follow as well. But yeah, definitely check out all these linked in the description below. Words are difficult at 10:30 at night, guys. It's getting that time. But thank you all so much for joining the stream. Definitely appreciate your support and your comments, and look forward to doing more of these in the future. So thanks, guys, and have a great Talladega weekend. See ya.